This piece is not named yet, and we're still very much working on it. It's really about my experience of having COVID. The night before we were going to be sequestered, I went to a dinner party, and then we were sequestered, and 13 days later I came up with COVID. And when I had COVID, I had it for 7 or 8 weeks. It was a terrible experience, as with everybody. They all had this horrible experience. But I had this almost hat-like piece on top of my head. It was like a pressure. And piece, I'm trying to get that feeling of, it was like a bonnet or something that was on top of your head, and it had certain layers that came down, and it almost came over your eyes, because there was like almost like a migraine headache that would clump on top of you. And then all these little balls were just coming down over you, and they got so dense at certain times that you thought that it would just cover over on top of you and just cover every part of you, and you had no control over it. It just covered you, and it wasn't horrible, but it was pretty awful because you had no control over it. And so I could see it so clearly, and yet I could do nothing about it. And it was very hot. My lungs were burning. I tried to breathe very, very little, because with much breath, the lungs would burn more. And I think when I get all the balls tied in here, I'll be dipping more. I'll be maybe putting more wax on. I don't know, because you never know what you're going to do with the piece. But I feel like it has to have more energy that's dripping down on it. But maybe with more balls, it won't need that. The lines aren't straight. They're all ziggy lines, I call them. And that's how it felt. It felt so hot, and nothing was straight. It was all like in a dream state. And I'm trying to make it as true as it felt, more than what it looked like. I can't tell you what it looked like, but I was experiencing it. So I'm trying to make it that way. I'd be very curious to know what dancers felt, or people that write literature, what they felt, what they saw. You know, it'd be so interesting to know, or people that are in the creative field, all of them, how they experienced it, because this was how I did. I wonder how painters saw it, you know, because I'm sure we all saw it in very different ways. But for me, this is how I did. It was very